Hey guys, it's QuickyBaby and welcome to Total War Warhammer, a turn-based real-time strategy game developed by Creative Assembly and published by Sega. Of course based inside the Warhammer universe, who at one point in their life hasn't tried to faff around painting miniatures. That's all good fun, but for those of you who maybe don't have the time to embrace the tabletop game, then I think that Creative Assembly are going to be creating a fantastic experience set inside the Total War universe that you can just relax and use your mouse and your keyboard to enjoy, and you don't have to spend quite so long setting up, right? I personally have been a massive Total War fanboy since the original Shogun, and now that they're mixing in that rich lore that you get from the Warhammer universe, I think this is a match made in heaven. I've managed to actually already play this game. Luckily I was down at a press event, and so I'm going to be giving you my initial impressions accompanied with some never before seen gameplay of the vampire counts and some pretty cool screenshots as well. So let's get this started. So as far as I can tell, there are currently 4 playable races set for launch. You got the dwarves, the greenskins, the empire, and what I'm going to be looking at today, the vampire counts. Led by Manfred von Carstein that you can see here, and he specializes in raising the dead, which while can happen in battle, as we're going to see later on, is really just an accelerated form of recruitment so he can overwhelm his opponents on the turn-based map. So just to show you the press event where I got to play Warhammer, this doesn't look like a regular press event, does it? But no, they got some role players out there, I guess, or shall we say reenactors, to give you a very old worldy feel, which the Warhammer universe is set in. So let's take a look at the campaign map for those who aren't familiar with the turn-based strategy from the Total War games. Here we can see Manfred von Carstein and his whole army down at the bottom of our screen. He is going to be raising the dead, that ability that I highlighted earlier. It's very fast recruitment. That is the specialty of the vampire counts. And now Manfred von Carstein is going to go and attack this town. He's going to be attacking Zelig van Kruger, okay, who also seems like there's another general. Now, when you're fighting on the campaign map, there are several options available to you. One of them is going to be auto-resolve, and that is what the player has done here. He is auto-resolving the combat. As you can see, you lose a few troops, you have a few left over. If you've got a stronger army and you auto-resolve, you're going to take some casualties, but it allows you to play out the less important battles fast. After the battle is complete, as we can see, you've got a choice of what you want to do to the settlement. Looks like they are going to capture it here and get rewarded with some very nice loot. Look at the total dark magic at the bottom here, and that fills up here, which is what you spend on troops and your recruitment. The other option, of course, is the real-time strategy interface that we're going to be looking on later. But firstly, let's take a look at the quest system that is currently in Total War Warhammer. The game is going to present you with a series of challenges that do give you some quite nice rewards. So that can be very useful if you want to try and accelerate your production, maybe to gain some troops early on in the game. One of the things that I really liked when I was playing was the development system of your lord. Here we can see Manfred von Carstein. He's a legendary lord. You get to equip him with different kinds of armor and different items, and here you can develop his skills. We can see there's many different paths that you can choose to skill Manfred. The hunger, I guess, makes him better in combat. This makes him better at raising the dead by the looks of it, and this is a series of magic that you can assign to him. The Aura of Supremacy makes him better at boosting his troops. And so what we find is there are many different ways to choose how you develop your lord, and so you can specialize him to your own kind of playstyle. There is also a technology tree in the game that you can use to further specialize how you want to play through the campaign. This technology tree can appear a little bit daunting at first, but once you sit down with the game and probably go through your first playthrough, you're going to learn a hell of a lot more about it. And I just really enjoy the idea that each playthrough might be slightly different and you can truly customize your experience. So now we're going to be looking at the real-time strategy element to the Total War games, and at the start of the battle you have all of your different units that we can see along here. You can deploy them and prepare to engage your opponents. I got to play with all of these different units. I'll try and explain the ones that I can remember along here, as this was a couple of months ago now. Here we have your skeletons. They're kind of generic, your basic foot soldiers. There are also zombies which are not in the army here, and they are really your meat shield. Then we've got some elite skeletons with spears. Then we have some vampire bats, some vargulfs, I believe, which are giant monsters. We're going to see some of in a second. And then some undead beasts in the bottom right-hand corner who are very fast and great for harassment. So let's take a look at the vampire bats. These are your flying units. They're great harassers. They're very fast, but they're also very fragile when you get them into combat. You want to use these to try and take on the squishy ranged units the enemies have. Now we have some crypt horrors. These things are very big, meaty fighters that do a lot of damage in combat and take a few hits. Now we're going to take a look at Manfred von Carstein's Raise the Dead ability. It does use quite a lot of mana. As we can see, there's a mana pool down here in the bottom right-hand corner. But what better way of demoralizing your opponents is by raising their dead to fight them some more. That's absolutely awesome. One thing I loved about this was that, as you can see, they're all wearing Empire outfits, which certainly does add to the immersion. But I do think that Creative Assembly could do far more with this very cool feature in the game. What I would love to see is some kind of interaction with the kinds of units you killed. I'm not sure if this works within the Warhammer universe. I'm not exactly the lore master, but can you imagine how cool it would be if you could raise that specific unit that you just vanquished and got an undead form of them? I'd love to see some undead dwarves or orcs running around, and I think that would be a really cool feature. But I digress. The way that it's incorporated in the game at the moment is really enjoyable and adds to that specialization of when you're playing the vampire counts. So what about the actual combat on the battlefield? Well, you control your units and let them get stuck in. And when we're talking about controlling thousands of units, the possibilities of the melee combat are truly awesome. You can get some really good cinematic shots when you zoom in here. Now we're going to check out to see what those vampire bats do against... It looks like those were crossbowmen, so ranged units, that's what you want to get your vampire bats in. Oh, those aren't vampire bats, those are Vargeists, I believe. Oh my word, look how they crunch in. Oh, that is just horrific. Oh, the humanity. So let's take another look at Manfred using some more magic here. He's going to use the Purple Sun Osiris, and this is very good against multiple opponents, and you really don't want to get in its way. As we can see, he casts it, it's going to go in a direction, and then we're going to see absolute carnage as all of the troops get sucked into this void. It looks like it's also killing his own units, so that's something that you definitely want to be careful with. And watch out for some friendly fire, otherwise you're going to lose a lot of your guys. And for our final bit of gameplay, we have some crypt horrors getting it on at the end against the Empire. I think the Creative Assembly have just done a great job of making the combat feel engaging and visceral. And really, sometimes you just want to zoom all the way in and watch them duke it out. There are, of course, lots of different commanders that you can have. For example, here is Sibylle von Carstein, if she's more your cup of tea than Manfred. There are also wraiths that you can get on the campaign map. And just like in all of the other Total War games, you have to develop your provinces to be able to construct troops more quickly, to be able to vanquish your opponents and overwhelm them. One thing I enjoyed as well while playing this was just how beautiful the campaign map looked. Take a look at some of these screenshots. There we can see our commanders moving around. It really does look awesome. And I truly did feel immersed in this fantasy kind of environment. Maybe if you're not a Warhammer fan, but you like Lord of the Rings, I think you'll kind of get the same kind of flavor from this. And on the other hand, if you are a tabletop fan and you know some of the special units, for example, this is the Black Coach, which roams around the battlefield harvesting souls so it can allow its vampire spirit to come back to this world, then a lot of your special and favorite units are going to be in the game as well. And my favorite unit that I got to play with was this. This is the Vargulf. It's so powerful that you only get one in a single unit, and it acts as a giant force on the battlefield, just picking people up, crushing them, smashing them into their friends as well. So while I only managed to get hands-on with this game for about 2 hours, I really did see all of the key features that I needed to know that this is going to be a great success. And I kind of already knew that it would be because, come on, it's Creative Assembly. They've been making the best real-time strategy games for the last 15 years. And when you combine a developer like that with the rich Warhammer lore, you just can't go wrong. I really can't wait to pick this game up on May the 24th, and as soon as I get my hands on it, I'm going to be streaming it live on Twitch TV. And if you guys are interested in seeing highlights on my YouTube channel, let me know in the comments down below. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, or maybe it was just useful to you. If it was, please consider giving it a like down below. It really helps the channel out. And stay tuned for more Total War Warhammer content. And as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.